This is our biggest turnout yet, even with the gas prices, even with all that. This is obviously growing. This is real support. We can't thank you enough, all right? So election season's here, and the Republican Party's bringing out their A game. That's right, all the stars are here. They got all the stars. So we've got Herschel Walker, who's he's a 60-year-old former football player, multiple personality disorder. I don't know if you know about that. You know, when I hear somebody has a mental illness, I think, get this man in office. We got to do this. So, really the only notable thing this guy's done since he won the Heisman in college is going to becoming like the most stupid black guy. That's so stupid that even the media is willing to tell you he's stupid. So, like, that's not bad. That's a hell of an achievement. Most won't do that. All right, next we've got Dr. Oz. This is a Turkish dual citizen, host of a quack medical TV show, and soon to be the only person in American history that's ever graduated Harvard and still lost an election to a man recovering from a stroke. It takes talent, to be honest. So the GOP is either purposefully or mistakenly thinking that what wins an election is celebrity. My guess is mostly they're just scared to run on real issues. I think they're boxed in. They know that if they run on stuff that white people want, they're going to get, energized. We saw what happened after Trump won in 2016. They don't want that shit to happen again. They don't want a base of white men that are rearing to go, that are actually making demands on the government. They can't have that. So this year should have been the electoral equivalent of just a home run, slam dunk, whatever word you want to use. Think about these, think about what they had to work with here. So you have a president with near record low approval ratings. Well, but also the most popular politician ever elected, so that's good. Yeah, I agree. The system does work. You have that. You have still, I said it last year, we'll probably say it every time because it's always going to be true until we win. You have nightmare levels of black crime. Cities are just, you can't go to them anymore. Obviously, that's the thing. Everybody knows you don't want to go to a city, but now it's just ridiculous. Immigration, it's even worse than it was when Trump ran a campaign solely on this subject and won, but they don't want to talk about that. Actually, there for a while they did talk about it, but it was just, it was Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz crying about all the poor Mexican kids sleeping under those space blankets, It's so sad. Let's see, there's the continued support for the war in Ukraine and the constant funding. That's what I'm saying. I was gonna kind of back off on that one, but all right, yeah. Anyway, we're sending all these billions to Ukraine at a time when we're experiencing the highest inflation rate in this country's history in 40 years. But you know what? Zelensky needs a couple more pieces of artillery, let me tell you. He needs that. So you have the January 6th protesters in prison, literally being tortured and put in solitary confinement, in some cases even being tortured because of their race. That's come out. The FBI being incentivized to target and harass white Americans solely to boost domestic terror numbers. Completely fake. Fake and gay. I think somebody mentioned it at one of their last speeches, but you had that shooter in, was it Indianapolis? That brony shooter, This guy's mom called the feds on her own son to say, I think my son is crazy and he's going to shoot people, okay? They decided that, well, he's not racist, so don't even worry about it. Goes on to shoot, 7, 8 people? I forget how many. Now, while they're doing this, boosting their domestic terror numbers, they're also willing to entrap people like the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping case, which, how many people of it? How many people were actually informants? It was something like, there were 2 guys that weren't FBI agents. It was like 90% were feds. So, at the time they're doing that, they're also willing to jam you up if you say run like a nail salon and you don't want to wax a trainee's balls. They're willing to come and have a talk to you that you're going to get a knock on the door. So instead of addressing any of this, campaigning on honestly helping white families when we have such a terrible economy, they just fall back to their old thing. We're not racist. Whoa, here's Herschel Walker. He ran for 2,000 yards. Vote for him. It's not bad. Really smart. So it's not just the politicians, it's some of the donors too. They're not interested in doing what would actually win. What they want to do is sort of slide back into like a minority opposition, and they're not opposing minorities, let me tell you that. But they want to slide back to like this opposition party so they can keep fundraising off of completely just milquetoast issues. They know they're not really going to do the bit. They want to slide into that. I mean, why fight when you can raise money and occasionally pass a tax cut? So, they want to appear powerless, but powerless isn't really the right word, because when it's time to refund the Iron Dome, like that, they got it. They're only powerless when it's something you're asking them to do. Otherwise, man, let me tell you, if you so your last name is like, I think this was a David Irving joke, I'm going to rip him off. Said if his name was Irving David, he might have gotten something done, but. So the GOP recently has done a lot of soft reboots. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this. They're desperate to identify as basically anything other than what their base wants, which is just an economic populist party that's going to help their base. Which isn't that crazy that that's a novel thing that we have to point out? Like, hey, this party doesn't want to represent its people. And that's not like seen as insane. It's just like, oh yeah, of course, yeah. That's how we do it. In the election of 2020, Trump switched from an economic populist and switched to a pro-immigration platform and became a platinum plan shill, which people are watching this later. That was the plan to give black Americans how many billions? I forget. It was like, yeah, 500 billion, $500 billion. Personally, I think the race issue will be solved in America once we fund a few more programs. Once we go to the downtown, paint a couple more murals of nice little kids holding hands, it's going to be just fine. So after Trump lost, they switched to the economic working class, the multiracial working class, which was, like all these things, they last for a couple months because it's like, yeah, okay, well, that's obviously not what any of us want, You don't switch from wanting to build the wall to saying, oh, we're all in this together, we're all on the same team here. That's not how this works. Recently, they tried Christian nationalism. That's a very new one. You guys like that one? Yeah. Yes. Very much a media stunt because they, coming out firing on all cylinders. Everybody was talking about that, but for like a week or two, and then it just goes away. And that's what makes it really pathetic. Like they just keep ginning this stuff up, and it never takes. It won't take because it's ridiculous. Don't you think they notice that they're not making Christianity better? They're just making nationalism worse. It's a bad look. Now the new one they seem like they're about to roll out is this sort of hodgepodge, like phony, anti-woke, pro-white series of messages that they're going to put out for 2024, because eventually they're not going to have any chance, They trot out all this other fake crap. Eventually they're going to have to try to give you some amount of red meat, otherwise, the wheels fall off. So, of course they have their chosen thought leaders and politicians in place to make sure we're steering things, keeping it kosher, it's all good. Right now they've got this young star, already lining up to be the face, okay? Now this is somebody that when I think pro-white politics, this face just pops right in my head. Do you guys know who it is? I got some mixed responses. Yeah, I'm thinking Laura Loomer. Now, Loomer, that's a face you can trust. Let me say. A banking trust? Yeah, that's not bad. I'm going to have somebody else help me write this. And she's very sincere too, because it's not often that Zionist Jews typically just switch to becoming a pro-white politician and convert to Christianity. That's how you know she's telling you the truth. So, most people assume that Democrat politicians are stupid, which I think a lot of them are mentally ill, but I don't think they're really dumb. I think they know what they're doing when they do some of this. For example, we have the student loan forgiveness thing that they're on right now, which, if if you boil this down, it's kind of a desperate play right before midterms to try to gin up support from their far left, their actual hard support that wants to hold their feet to the fire on this. It's also a way to try to save Biden from his terrible approval number, just absolutely terrible. What's funny is it actually worked too. Democrats actually did the cardinal sin in the mind of a conservative. They actually gave voters something they asked for. Think about it, the novelty. So all Republicans had to do is call it out for what it is. It's a cynical halfway measure on a campaign promise. Point out that his base wants him to cancel student loan debt, not knock off a couple zeros, cancel it. Why don't they tell Biden to cancel medical debt while we're at it? In politics, you're supposed to hold your opponents to their own morals.
Cancel all debt.
Cancel
the bankers.
Look, I agree, but I'm not saying it. He gave away the ending of my speech. Again. So, you got to hold them to their morals. Instead, Republicans took the bait, and they're going to the mats, demanding that not one person receive a dime of college debt relief. They absolutely want to make sure you pay every little bit. So, Republicans have managed to take what should have been a historically easy election, and now it's neck and neck in a lot of cases, and in some cases they're pulling far, far behind, and it's just pathetic. It's absolutely sad. So, I brought this up last time, I'll bring it up again. When you hear people ask, oh, NJP, why aren't you talking about this, that, or the other? You should reach these Republicans. I really don't think so. I don't think they got it. I don't think they know what the hell they're doing. Or if they know what they're doing, their plan is to fail. I don't intend to fail. So, the other side of the shekel, too, is that, this is actually a really small sum of money in the grand scheme. What they're offering, it's really a drop in the bucket for most people. It's going to knock out some interest, but it's like, people go to school, they have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. You offer somebody $10,000, it's like, that's nice and all, but I mean, come on. So, people try to make this about, hey, you shouldn't have taken that loan in the first place if you're not going to pay it back, all right? You'll never financially recover from this? Well, have you considered the poor lenders who are counting on that 28% interest payment? You selfish people. And realistically, when I say people, I mean Ben Shapiro, so I shouldn't really say people, I guess. Loose with the definition there. Yeah. Big fan. Facts, logic, and reason. But when I hear people going to bat for creditors and lenders like this, I just hear, won't somebody think of the bankers? And in Ben's case, they probably go to the same temples, so maybe he's actually concerned. He's actually looking out for his friends. Another classic is, I bet they went and got a loan for women's studies or underwater Caribbean basket weaving or some sort of just retarded, degree that people really aren't getting. It's a marginal amount of people. It's a way just to try to shift the conversation away from something legitimate, which people are suffering with college debt. I know a lot of people here probably are, But this is also what Republicans like to do, conservatives in general. They like to make it seem like it's not worth fighting for. Actually, we're the smart guys, okay? We're just above it all. We're not going to fight for this. Just don't even go. Just let the libtards have it, But that's their MO. People will try to say, the people getting those type of loans, we don't want to help them. But it's like those people are probably minorities. They're going for free. Just frankly, come on. Now, I went to college. I also dropped out of college. To tell the truth, I actually dropped out of several colleges. So I had student loan debt for a while. It took me till my 30s to pay it off. And admittedly, I didn't really pay it off so much as the Department of Education got tired of my excuse of hey, I wanted to spend the money on something else, okay? And they decided that they wanted my tax return more than I did, so that's really what happened there. But either way, I wouldn't wish that kind of debt on anybody. I think about how far ahead I'd be now. I'm 34 now. Imagine if from the time I was 18, I wasn't, losing thousands of dollars a year. Like, I'd be in a completely different place. I'd be even more racist. Think about it. I'd have a nicer house, I can tell you that. But the thing is when someone graduates high school, like I was 17 when I graduated. Most people are like 18 years old. They don't really know what the hell they want to do, They're being pressured by everybody around them, all their peers, all media, teachers, whatever, They think it's the right thing to do. They get to college, they realize they don't like it. Like, sorry, mister, you're out 30 grand. I don't really think that's right, but oh well. So I don't think that a teenager should be able to wreck their life like that. I've seen tons of boomer bait on social media since all this started. And I don't mean to disrespect the honorable boomers in the crowd. You're head and shoulders above the rest. Legitimately. One's on our central committee. Hashtag not all boomers. But I see the type of stuff they say and I just wonder, like, what type of a sicko, sees like a kid that's struggling and just says, oh, tough luck, mister. As they're posting, from their second home, their summer home, they're on a boat or something like, oh, life's not fair, buddy. Who does that? Then, to add insult to injury, do you ever see any of these people complain about PPP loan recipients that got their loans forgiven? I've never seen that happen. I've never seen that happen. The only time they care is when it's benefiting you, just flatly. Or Israel. They're the ultimate recipients of aid. So, I heard about the best description for the whole situation, the whole American situation the other day. And actually I stole this from Mike, who I think probably stole it from Warren, who I'm guessing stole it from like an old book or an old movie I've never seen or heard of. But it's just really good. America's like a science experiment. You're a rat in a maze, but there's no cheese at the end. That's the system they set up for you. You get nothing from benefiting this, or from working for the system. You get nothing. You benefit in no way. But that just isn't right. Working people deserve help with debt, especially when it's predatory. That's another thing. I really should have included that. Predatory lending is such a big deal in this country. It's rarely talked about. But, I spent time like all over the country. I grew up, my dad was in the military, so we've lived everywhere. And we used to live around like Knoxville, Tennessee. And I'm just ad-libbing now, but I've been there recently, and it's just like check cashing place, nail salon, check cashing place, and that's like the only economy there. These people are never going to get out of poverty. So when you see people that don't want to help out people, you're mostly shitting on whites, frankly. The thing is, they deserve help. I want young people to be starting their lives and starting families, not living in a shitty one-bedroom apartment on the black side of town because that's all they can afford while they work a dead-end job. Every single person, especially in this room, deserves better than that shit. So, Biden's speech the other day, who caught that? That was some weird, wild shit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, aside from the spooky, dark Biden, imagery he had going on there, dark Brandon, sorry. I'm trying to say it in a way that people watching in like 6 months will know. No one's going to remember dark Brandon. It's the dumbest man. That's true. Kamala is kind of dark, but not that dark. But what I found the most disturbing was the openly hostile, just absolutely anti-white, just seething content. I don't recall any president ever, since like, I don't know, maybe Lincoln, threatening to wage war on half of the country. Come on. What the hell? White people awake, all right. Absolutely. So, no amount of "Let's go Brandon" posting, no amount of Hitler memes, the Hitler Biden edits. None of that's going to change the gravity of the speech. Don't let people on social media just try to make this a joke, because it really isn't. Zog's taking foreign policy loss after foreign policy loss, and the only thing they can do now to maintain legitimacy is clamp down at home and further seek to threaten and intimidate dissidents, just like us. That's all they're trying to do now. That's right. Now, so when Biden, the senile frontman for the clique of powerful Jews that actually run this country, stands up and tells you he's ready to fight extremists for democracy, what he means is it's time to shut down dissent. He's talking about you, he's talking about us, and he's talking about all white people. They want to bring it, they want to bring the hammer down. They've had enough, it's time. Indeed. So, I think it's more important now than any time in America's history to not support the system. The country shifted from implicit anti-white bias and discrimination to explicit injustice. From soft oppression like affirmative action, like they had for decades, now there's overt, actual, top-down, brutal repression, like in the case of the McMichaels. We live in a country where if you're white and you're defending your neighborhood from a violent criminal, the jogger, can't get enough of those joggers. If you defend your neighborhood from a violent criminal, you're likely to go to prison for the rest of your life. That's right. But Jews like Merrick Garland, they're not even happy with that. That is not enough for them. They're furious that we're not shrinking away. We're furious that we haven't lost. They're furious that they still get pushed back. They can't take any of it. And this is classic. This has happened time and time again in 109, 110 countries. Eventually they start going a little too far. People don't like it.
Over 1,000 times.
Over 1,000 times. Wow, they must be really bad. So in the spirit of the holiday, Labor Day, and in the spirit of all American labor movements in the past, I say we should probably make this hard on the bosses. That's right. We need a white strike. That's right. White strike. Absolutely. So everyone in here, everybody listening, you need to sign up for absolutely every benefit you can get your hands on. Only do what you have to do to get by. Only shop white, save your money, and help each other out. This system needs us shackled to it. This dying empire, we're the only things keeping it solid. We're the only things driving it forward. So we're the only ones that can take it away. We can put an end to it. That's right. To the more reactionary-minded, because I know I can imagine the Odyssey comments, To the more reactionary-minded, they're going to say, "Oh, hey, I don't need no welfare, man. I'm a proud white man. I don't need that." You sound like a commie. I'm going to get called Nazbol. I just expected it. It's all good. I don't like the government using my money for whatever you're going to hear. I say, what are you talking about? This is America. That's not your money. It never has been. It's the Jews' money. Take it. Take it away from them. This is a new chant. This is a good one. So, we just passed the 5-year anniversary of Charlottesville, and yes, absolutely. So, I was going to tell you guys to give a round of applause to the guys that, they're still in jail for that. give a round of applause for all the Seville vets. I don't know who all was here, but I'm sure quite a bit. Absolutely. Well, we should go back to Seville, but none of the bad stuff. So, when those guys get out of jail, I want them to see this stuff. I want them to catch up on everything and just know that the movement didn't go away. They didn't get abandoned. It's growing. They're going to be welcomed back with open arms. They're heroes. So, all of the Central Committee was there. We were all at SEVO. And, a lot of us didn't really know each other that well. I knew Stryker. That was really about it. But, just like a lot of you guys, 5 years ago, you guys didn't know each other. But now you have great relationships. There's been, kids born, weddings, everything. So much happens within the movement now, and it's incredible to see. This type of stuff really did not happen when I came into this stuff, like 7, 8, 9, whatever the hell that was years ago. It did. But the rate at which it does now, just how positive everything is, it's so incredible to see. Just like people watching, they might have sort of been drifting without a cause, But even with the censorship, the repression, deplatforming, inability to access a banking system, just the whole thing, threats of violence, all of it, we're all still fighting and we're together now. The movement is growing at a rate that I've never seen. It's incredible. Yeah. That's right. Right. Thank you. So, the main takeaway from all this, from this whole evening, from what you're seeing, this Biden speech, all this type of stuff, the main takeaway is the system is powerful. Don't pretend it isn't, but it's also afraid and it can be beaten. And that's exactly why they're doing what they're doing now, because they have no choice. They get a sense, just like we are, that the tide is turning and their time is up. They know it. They know, yeah, all right. Take their money, yeah.
You will not replace us.
They know, wow, it's a classic. They know that we have the potential to make 2033 look a whole hell of a lot like 1933. Yeah. And the key is doing it's right here in this room. We have white unity, we have the white strike, and eventually we'll have white political power. So thank you. Hail victory.